We are only a few weeks away till we get a brand new Wallace and Gromit film on Christmas Day, Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Fowl. But since this new film will see the return of a classic villain, Feathers McGraw, and it's been 16 years since the last Wallace and Gromit film, I thought today we'd recap everything you need to remember from the last 5 main Wallace and Gromit films. There will be video chapters in the description down below if you want to jump to a certain film. We start all the way back in 1989 in Wallace and Gromit: A Grand Day Out for the duo's first adventure, where we learn the 2 main things about this duo. They're inventors and they love cheese. The pair are wondering where to go on holiday when they decide they should go somewhere where there is cheese. They believe the myth that the moon is made of cheese, and so they begin building a rocket to visit the moon. They land on the moon for a picnic and begin eating bits of the moon to see if it is cheese, but finds it tastes rather peculiar instead. On the moon, they find an old working dishwasher oven machine that requires coins to work. When Wallace inserts coins, it comes to life and begins collecting things from the moon. It dreams of being able to ski on the moon, but sees Wallace's rocket is leaking fuel and parts of the moon are being cut off by Wallace, so it goes to stop them. Wallace and Gromit quickly escape back to Earth while the machine tries destroying their rocket so they can't escape. Once they have escaped, parts of the rockets break off, which the machine turns into skis to then live out its dreams of skiing by skiing on the mountains of the moon. Let's move to 1993 for Wallace and Gromit: The Wrong Trousers, where we see Wallace and Gromit in their recognisable forms as we know today, as well as a proper look at their house with all of their contraptions like the self-getting out of bed system into clothes ready for breakfast. Wallace is struggling with bills because he bought Gromit a huge birthday present. That present was a pair of robotic trousers that can take Gromit for a walk. To deal with the finance issues, the pair start their first major job that we get to see. They open up a B&B inside of their house. The guest who comes to stay is Feathers McGraw, a penguin who is returning in Vengeance Most Fowl. Feathers slowly begins taking over by stealing Gromit's room and eventually kicking Gromit out of the house, forcing him to become homeless. He tears apart Wallace and Gromit and then manipulates the wrong trousers so he can do his evil schemes. Whilst Wallace is asleep, he places him in the wrong trousers so he can use Wallace and takes him to steal a precious diamond. Gromit finds out Feathers is a mastermind criminal who disguises himself as a chicken with a rubber glove and goes to catch him. Wallace manages to escape the wrong trousers, but Gromit and him end up chasing Feathers on a mini train track around the house to get the diamond back. They defeat Feathers and send him to a zoo prison. 1995 now for the 3rd installment, Wallace and Gromit: A Close Shave. Wallace and Gromit have Wallace and Gromit's wash and go window cleaning service, where they ride out on motorbikes and clean people's windows. They go to clean the windows of a wool shop owner by the name of Wendeline Ransbottom and her dog Preston. She becomes Wallace's first of many love interests. He's very much a player. This guy gets around throughout these films. Throughout the town there has been a sheep rustling scandal, and Shaun the sheep ends up at Wallace's house. Wallace cleans him up by using his new Knit-O-Matic. They return to the wool shop and Gromit discovers that it is Preston the dog and Wendeline who are the sheep rustlers, but Preston frames Gromit so he is sent to prison and the sheep rustling continues. Wallace inherits all of Shaun's friends and uses them to rescue Gromit from prison. They go to catch Preston and Wendeline, who are using the sheep for the wool business. But it turns out Preston is the main mastermind behind this, as he is actually a cyber dog created by Wendeline's dad to protect her, but he has now malfunctioned. Wallace, Wendeline and the sheep have to escape Preston's traps before they are saved by Gromit with his motorbike turned aeroplane with a porridge dispenser, and with the help of Shaun destroys Preston and saves the day. But Wendeline doesn't stay with Wallace because she doesn't like cheese. Not even Wensleydale.
Not even Wensleydale?
It's 2005 now, and it's time for the duo's first feature full-length cinema release in Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. The stakes are massive now, where Wallace and Gromit own a gnome vegetable protection business, Anti-Pesto, which goes out and catches rabbits from stealing people's vegetables in their garden, as the town is preparing for the Great Vegetable Competition. Wallace goes to Tottington Hall to clear up the rabbits ready for the competition and meets Lady Tottington, who of course will be his new love interest in this film. However, Totty has another admirer, Victor Portemay, who hates Wallace and Gromit. Wallace creates a mind manipulation machine which uses the power of the moon to change the biology of animals. He intends to make rabbits stop eating vegetables, but one of the rabbits gets sucked into the pipe and ends up combining with Wallace. Now this transforms Wallace into a were-rabbit whenever the moon appears and turns the rabbit into a rabbit version of Wallace, who they end up calling Chuck. The whole town experiences massive vegetable destruction from a beast, and Gromit works out the were-rabbit is Wallace. However, when the vegetable competition arrives, all the townsfolk and Victor go out to kill the were-rabbit. Gromit has to protect Wallace and does so, but at the cost of flying again in a plane and being hit by the golden trophy out of a bullet by Victor. He is about to fall to his death, but then the were-rabbit catches him and falls instead and dies. It transforms back into Wallace, and Gromit uses cheese to wake him back up. Wallace and Totty then get together, but it clearly doesn't last long, because we then go to 2008 for Wallace and Gromit: A Matter of Loaf and Death, where Wallace has a brand new love interest, but also so does Gromit. The pair are now bakers, but there is a baker serial killer on the loose who is killing all of the bakers in town. Wallace and Gromit, during their drive, meet a celebrity in the baking world, Paella, the Bakelite girl who was a model for a bread company. The pair save her from falling to her death by crocodiles, and her and Wallace begin dating, with her dog Fluffles crushing on Gromit. Paella begins to move in, but one day forgets her purse, so Gromit goes to her house to drop it off, but finds her room is full of mannequins with bakers' hats on, and finds a book with Paella and all the dead bakers. He realizes Paella is the serial killer. He rushes home to tell Wallace, but Paella burns the book and gives Wallace a cake. Inside the cake is a bomb, and Paella tries to kill Wallace in their house, whilst Gromit and Fluffles, who was enslaved by Paella, have to stop her before the bomb goes off and without being killed by all the crazy technology in that house. Eventually, they stop Paella by her going onto a balloon where she is too fat and sinks to supposedly being killed by the zoo. Fluffles loves Gromit but feels she has to leave, but at the end, Gromit invites her in and she joins them as part of their baking business. And that leads us on to Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Fowl, where we are having the return of Feathers McGraw from the wrong trousers, but potentially we could also see the return of a few other classic villains from these films. And if you want to see a video about that, there'll be a link down below in the description, or you can go and click the card somewhere up there. But guys, that is the Wallace and Gromit recap. What do you guys think about this? Are you excited for Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Fowl? I know I really am. And what is your favourite Wallace and Gromit film out of all of the ones that we've had in the past? Or is it some of the mini shorts that they've done? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. And as always, we've been here on Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.
And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to stop.